So let's look at this sheet. So you've downloaded it. It's the one that's called One Seed Grows Many Stories, and it's coming from your handout folder. So you've already done that, right? Hands up if you've done that. I see you. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to think about this. The first part says, think about characters you like to read about. So I know for me, when I'm reading books, I really like to read various kinds of characters, and that's what I want you to be thinking about today. What kind of characters do you like to read about when you read a book? And if you're not sure, this is time for us to start thinking about characteristics that we can identify with, or that we like and we enjoy when we find a character in a book, and ones that we don't. So look at the first part here. It says, characters that I like to read about. So for me, I like to read about characters who are rebellious. I really like when characters rebel against the systems that are in place for them already. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, but I like that rebellion. I also like the second one here. It says that they have dealt with tragedies. When I read a story and there's something horrible that happens, or there's a death, or there's a natural disaster, I really like a good tragedy. If I'm reading the book and I'm starting to cry, I really like that. Anybody else out there, raise your hands. Yeah? Okay, see, so I like that too. I really like tragedies, not in real life, but in books. And then last one I put up here is that they're considered, or characters that are considered odd or very different. So that's really interesting to me to understand how somebody else who has a special talent or who has a special disability might live their life, okay? Or how they might feel in comparison to somebody or other groups around them at school, if they're outcasted or if they enjoy being unique. So these are some ones that I like to read about. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, down at this bottom part here, I'm going to ask you to choose, or to write, 4 different kinds of characters that you like. If you want to steal 1 or 2 of mine, you can, but no more than that. You need to come up with some of your own. So you can think about what characters that you like to read about. Once we're done with this, we're going to share. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. What characters do you like to read about? What do you enjoy? If you are stuck, there are some helper questions over here. And these helper questions might give you something to start with, saying, I like characters who, what? Or I like when characters blank. Or I like characters who have or who are. So these would be good ways for you to start if you're looking at these bullets and you're stuck. Okay? Start there. I'm going to give you guys about 4 minutes to try to do that. And then we'll come around and we'll share. So we've had a chance to write these now. And I see that most of us are finished. So as I'm looking at your writing, you guys have some ideas here. And I'm going to ask you to do stand up, pair up, with at least 3 people around the classroom. And what that means is you're going to go share a couple of your ideas. You don't have to do all of them. Share 1 or 2 of your ideas with a partner. They're going to share back with you. When you get that information, if you like it, if it's the character you're, oh yeah, I like to read that kind of character too, add it to your list. If you don't, just say thank you and move to the next person. You're going to stand up, hand up, pair up. You will know who needs a partner because their hand will still be in the air. So I'm going to ask you to do that with 3 people. I will know that you're finished because when you're done, you will sit down back at your seat. So on the count of 3, you may go. 1, 2, 3. All right, so the next part is, you guys already had some ideas and you shared some ideas with your neighbors. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is scroll down to the second part below that where you see 2 trees, 1 of them's filled in. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you what this looks like first with mine, then you're going to help me with one, then you're going to do your own. So I told you guys above that one of the things that I like is I love a good tragedy. So I like to read stories about characters who have dealt with tragedies. So when I think about tragedies, there could be lots of tragedies. So all those ideas that I could write a story about that have to do with a tragedy, I put on the leaves. So you'll probably notice some of these. You guys have the same one on yours. I could write about someone living through tsunamis. One of the teachers here a couple years ago lived through one. They're gone now. They're gone now. Someone who loses a limb or an arm or a leg. That would be a tragedy for a lot of people. A tragedy on an emotional level might be if your family's going through a divorce. Another one might be a parent who suffers from addiction. Maybe they have lots of things going on. Maybe that's related to various tragedies. Or a soldier who sees a lot of death when they go to war. So all of these things are stories that have to do with tragedies that I could write. So let's look at the other one that I picked above. I said characters who are considered odd or maybe just very different than the people around them, whether their family or their peers. what are some story ideas I could put up here? Dakota.
Oh, it's not one, but at the end of the year in language arts last year,
Mhm.
we watched one where I think everybody had like a triangle.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
everything had a triangle,
Okay.
and everybody had triangle heads. But then this one person was born with like a rectangular,
Right, that's
oval head,
the kind of
and
stories
he
I like
like
to read.
stuck out, and they were kind of moving towards.
Right, so this could be a story about someone who is different in blank way and bullied. What could I fill in on that line? What could I say? Different in what way?
Physically?
Maybe physically. Have you guys read Wonder?
Yeah.
Okay. So that could be a story that I wrote. Okay? Talking about the triangles and the square, like Dakota was just saying. What are some other stories I could tell about people who are very different than others? What are some other ones?
Someone with a mental disorder?
Yeah, somebody who has a mental disorder. And maybe I could turn this into two different stories. Somebody who's telling their own story and somebody who is a family member or a friend of this person. That could be two different stories. What other ideas do you have? Try?
Someone who's like from a different country or a different part of town and then they move.
Yeah, so maybe somebody who is culturally different. Maybe there was a move involved. Somebody in my last class had a good one too. They said you don't have to be very different in a bad way. It doesn't have to be like something that's hard, painful. It could be something that's a benefit in many ways. Like what if you were born, or that character was born, as a genius? Have you guys heard about people who sometimes go to college when they're 12 or 13 or 14? Yeah, what if somebody was a genius and they went to college? It's very rare, but sometimes it happens, yeah. As a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, okay? That would be somebody who's very different.
Wait, so they're like born with stuff in their so like they're born with like already information?
No, I mean, their brain learns differently.
It can like learn like super fast.
Yes, much differently than you and I can learn.
Like so lucky.
Yep. Have you guys ever watched the show Chili's Got Talent or America's Got Talent?
There's a Chili's Got Talent? No way.
There was. 2 years ago, we had a NEO student.
I'm going to.
Really? Yeah. So have you guys ever heard of those shows? Raise your hand if you've seen or heard of those shows, like America's Got Talent or The Voice or something.
The Voice.
All right. So I'm gonna wait for you guys. How could this being very different than other people fit in with that? What kind of other story could I tell?
Like they have like they're really good at something. Like someone's really good at singing, or someone's really good at like gymnastics.
All right, someone who's got a talent far beyond others. And maybe I could say, maybe like you said, that maybe that's gymnastics, or maybe it's just somebody who's like 5 and can sing opera like a adult person can or something.
There's actually
There's a lot of those, yeah. So there's a lot of those on that show, but in real life we don't need that many people
That's
like
me.
that. So we've got a bunch of stories on here based on this one seed idea, and that's what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now. So in a minute, you're going to scroll down and you're going to see places to put your seeds. So let's go ahead and look at yours right now. Scroll down to the next part.
Oh yeah.
Is it really?
yeah, it is actually. It's very
Okay.
oh yeah.
So yours looks like this now. So I'm going to ask you, from your bulleted list above, where you listed the things, maybe you got some from another person, maybe you got some from your own thinking, I'm going to ask you to list one character that you like to read about here, and one character that you like to read about here. And I'm going to ask you to come up with ideas, just like you helped me come up with ideas on your tree. Now there's space for maybe 6 or 8. I'm going to ask you to come up with at least 4 on each one. And no, you can't do 8 on one and none on the other. So I'm going to ask you guys to think about, you have a list of 4 bullets, maybe more than that if you share it. Choose one character you like to read about, write it in your seed part. Choose another character you like to read about, write it in your seed part. Then I'm going to ask you to start thinking of some ideas. At least how many for each tree?
4.
4 more. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to do this. and then we'll talk about the next step.
We have to do both of them?
You have to do both of them. Yes, you have to think. So
Rodden.
let's pause where we are. If you're listening, clap 3 times. If you're listening, clap twice. Okay. So what I'd like for us to do with this part is, we now have 2 seeds that grew into trees, which means we have 2 kind of concepts or ideas to pick from. I'm going to ask you to pick on each tree one that you think you are interested in. So you might say, like, I think I'm interested in writing about this story. And on this tree, I think I'm interested in writing about this story. I'd like for you to do that right now. Pick one on each tree that you think you could work with as a story. Pick one on each tree. One on each tree that you think you could work with. One on each tree that you think you could work with. Okay, raise your hand when you've got yours chosen. I will know because your hand will be in the air when you've got yours chosen. Both of them? Both of them?
Oh, both.
Boom. There we go. Okay, so looks like most of us. So our next step is scroll down to where you have this big list of questions. 45 questions. Do you see this? You have to answer all of these questions tonight.
What?
No.
No, only 10.
How'd you guys know that?
Oh,
Oh, it says only answer 10 questions about your character. So,
In the class, though, yeah, I was so like,
let me explain to you what this might look like. So,
20 for each one?
hold on. So I'm going to ask you to think about what character you've chosen from one of your trees and answer any 10 questions that you like. Color code, so that I can tell that all the questions about one tree are blue and all the questions about another tree character are red or
They have to
something.
be different.
So, yeah, they have 2 different stories. Yeah.
Wait, 10 of each or 5?
So
10 for each story.
Does it have to be different questions?
No, it could be the same. But I would recommend doing all of them for one character first. So maybe I chose the one about tragedies, and maybe I chose the one about a kid who comes from a bad family who is abusive. So I'm gonna do this. My first one would be like, what do they like to wear? I'm gonna say my character wears a red hoodie every day, and maybe it's more than they're abusive. They're incredibly poor, and the dad is abusive. That's my story, maybe. Okay. So he wears a red hoodie, but I'm also gonna say that it smells bad and is stained, because if he's in a family that's got somebody who's abusive is not there, he's probably going to stay away from them as much as possible, okay? Maybe what annoys them. Maybe I'm going to say it's the dad. I'm going to say dad when dad is home. Okay? What about what makes them embarrassed? People knowing the family problems. Or what are their long-term goals? To graduate and go to college so that they can leave the poverty, but also they can leave the family. What do you think? So this is what you're going to do for yours. 10 questions on your first character from your first choice. Then choose another color on your other story and answer any 10 you want. They could be the same, they could be different ones.
Can we do it in the notebook?
Do it on there. I want to see you guys do it on there. Questions? Okay, so this is where you're going to get started. I'll come around and talk. This is your homework. So it's probably better, if you guys didn't hear me say that a minute ago, if you don't choose all your questions first. Choose 1 or 2 and answer, and then pick as you go, because that helps you understand your character as you write the answers. And then you might choose different questions because of that.